Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Thank you for tuning into the channel. On today's episode, I'm going to take a look at Into the Breeding Pits, which is a Frostgrave supplement written for both first and second edition. This supplement is one of my favorites, and it really does lend a true dungeon crawl, old school D&D feel to the game. This is also an awesome opportunity to make all sorts of new terrain that is not necessarily frozen. You can make underground gardens in giant caverns. You could have a maze of catacombs from crumbled buildings. There are all sorts of really cool stuff I really do like about this. This also introduces the Gnolls into the Frostgrave game, and there are packed full of scenarios and a campaign. So let's take a look. All right, and today let's take a look at Frostgrave, Into the Breeding Pits. This is one of my all-time favorite supplements for Frostgrave. If you're looking for a game that has a Dungeons and Dragons, an old school Dungeons and Dragons feel to it, this is the perfect Frostgrave supplement for your games. This has the rules for tunnels. It has the rules for traps and secret doors. It has the rules for limited line of sight because you're exploring the ruins of Felstad that are underground. It has rules for opening doors and doorways. It has rules for burrowing animals. It has rules for burrowing if you get a spell or a potion. Actually, I don't know if you can get a spell for tunneling, but there is a potion you can get for it. This supplement has new soldiers, new spells for a variety of schools. It has new loot, new magic items. It has a new sub-school, the Beastcrafter, which I'll go into detail a little bit later. And I'll pull out one of my old character sheets that I chose to go Beastcrafter with. There's also a new category of spells called reaction spells. And if you choose to become a Beastcrafter, there are also a series of spells that are just for the Beastcrafter. Now, any type of wizard can become a Beastcrafter, but I recommend going with a witch first because at a certain point you have to brew a potion, and it really does help with animal companion. And if we take a look here, we've got the dungeon setup. Now, the rules for playing underground are a little bit different than what you will be used to playing a traditional Frostgrave game. For instance, Crumble isn't going to work the same if there's dead space. Leap, there are ceilings, so sometimes you won't be able to leap as high as you want. They also go into detail about how the wall spell works. It doesn't last as long down here. The wall spell is actually very powerful when you have tunnels and you can block it, block movement. There are also rules for opening doors and doorways. Now, when you're underground, there is a limited amount of ceiling space you have. It's just a tunnel, like a mine shaft or something. It's a minimum of 10 inches high. But if you're in, say, a cavern that collapsed, some of the Frostgrave collapsed on top of it, this underground cavern, the ceiling is 1 inch higher than the highest piece of terrain. So that really right there can affect some of the gameplay. And I think it's pretty cool. It just adds another element. Here's the lighting. Sometimes lighting is not, the line of sight is not 24 inches like above ground because it's dark. Like I said before, there's the rules for burrowing, and we have traps, which gives a really cool old school D&D feel. I'm not going to go into detail how traps are set off. I think you should just buy the book and take a look, but look at all these cool things. I mean, you can even get pickpocketed. There's a pit trap, poison dart, time slip, teleport pads. It just keeps going and going. There are also secret passages, which is very much like D&D. So here's the section where it explains the history of Beastcrafters, and I'm going to go ahead and just read a little bit of this to you. Amongst the most famous and feared of Felstad's underground residents were the Beastcrafters. Officially, the name belonged to a specific guild of magic, but in practice the term was applied to any wizard that worked in the breeding pits, creating hybrid animals and other monsters. Most of their creations ended up in arenas or exported to foreign lands, but some were sold as guardians, mounts, or exotic pets. Since the Great Cataclysm, most of the knowledge of the Beastcrafters has been lost, and even where the knowledge does still exist, the massive Laboratories, vats, and animal handling facilities demanded by their craft simply no longer exist. It would take the wealth of a kingdom and several decades of work to recreate even the smallest of ancient Felstad's breeding pits. All of that said, there are a few remaining strains of Beastcrafter magic that tempt wizards into explorations beneath the frozen city. The most sought after is the formula for the elixir of the Beastcrafter, a potion that the ancient wizards used to fuse their own blood with that of animals, allowing them a greater understanding of these creatures, and also imbuing them with some of their bestial qualities. Prolonged use of this elixir also caused the imbiber to take on a more animalistic appearance, making them outcasts from polite society and driving them to spend even more time underground with their monstrous creations. So basically, Beastcrafters were a type of wizard in old Felstad, and they had arenas where they would have their creations battle each other, these gladiatorial arenas. And the Beastcrafters are basically wizards who gene hack. So that's kind of what this whole section's all about if you choose to go down that path. So in order to become a Beastcrafter, one must first make the magic potion. And it can never be found or purchased. It can only be created by a wizard who has a copy of the Book of the Beastcrafter. So you spend 50 gold on ingredients, and then you have to successfully cast a brew potion. If the spell fails, the ingredients are lost. If the spell succeeds, it creates 1 dose of the elixir. So when I was doing this, I kept having really bad rolls with my witch, and for whatever reason, it took me until level 30 before I was able to get a hold of the Book of the Beastcrafter and actually make the potion. So it took me a while. If you look over here, here's some benefits of being a Beastcrafter. To begin with, a wizard must be level 5 to acquire the Beastcrafter 1 trait. And then what you choose from is you get little options for when you cast Control Animal or when you cast Animal Companion. Beastcrafter level 2, you can get at level 10. It also has a bunch of things that you can add to your repertoire for your wizard. And then my favorite is Beastcrafter 3. And once you do this, you can get some of these animal features. I chose wings for mine because I thought it was pretty cool to have wings and glide. I also was working with miniatures that were lizard folk, demi-humans. I like playing the demi-humans, and this is a perfect supplement for that. So when I chose wings, I had flying lizards, which I thought were pretty cool, like flying lizard people. Or actually it was just the wizard and the apprentice, but still pretty cool. Here's a Beastcrafter wizard that chose more of a feline attributes for the head. So essentially what happens is your wizard becomes a hybrid of an animal and a humanoid and kind of scares off people, so they become more and more like isolated. We have some new spells. These are the Beastcrafter spells that are only available to wizards once they go ahead and make that potion. Then we also have the new reaction spells, and here are the various schools and sorts of things they can do as a reaction. We also have a lost school of spiritualist that you really can't become, but there's a spell for it. And look at this great artwork. Here's a trap, someone either setting a trap or looks like they're setting one, not disarming. But who knows, they could be disarming it or setting it. And speaking of traps, here's new soldiers. We have Trap Expert, Tunnel Fighter. Then we also have some scenarios. There are a total of 5 scenarios in this supplement. Personally, I have not played all these scenarios. I mean, we cherry pick our campaigns anyway. I chose this supplement because of the dungeon delving rules that go along with it. So there are your scenarios, Rats in the Walls. That's a fun one, actually, Rats in the Walls. It's good for lower levels, too. Let's see. And then now we have some new treasure, which also means we have new magic items, like this one right here, Armor of Elemental Absorption. That is an awesome piece of armor to have for your captain. And lastly, we get to the Bestiary, which has a whole section on Gnolls. We also have the Amplipede, which is like a carrion crawler. We're introduced to the Basilisk, which we have the giant worms, which also include the new ability to burrow. We have the Gnolls, which I think are awesome, and the origin story is completely different than what you get in Dungeons and Dragons. In D&D, the Gnolls are created by a demon lord, but here, the Gnolls are basically created by a combination of rat, hyena, and dog. I'll go ahead and read a little bit about this for you because it really does give some of the nice flavor what this supplement's about. After an ancient law banned human fighters from the arenas, the Beastcrafters exploited a loophole and created numerous varieties of anthropomorphized animal hybrids. While many different species were exploited to this end, rats, dogs, and hyenas provided strong, reliable subjects and were amongst the most common hybrids. After years of Beastcrafter tinkering and manipulation, robust strains that drew from these species were perfected. These Gnolls, as these strains came to be collectively known, were bred in the thousands in the years before the Cataclysm and sold as slaves and gladiators to the arenas and as shock troops to the armies of foreign powers. When the Great Storm struck, several groups of the hardy Gnolls survived trapped in isolated colonies deep beneath the city. Over the next millennium, they multiplied, forming numerous tribes and packs, warring with each other in their underground warrens and hunting the great worms. Today, Gnolls form what is easily the most numerous group of living creatures inside the frozen city. Most Gnolls will belong to one of the many tribes, clans, or packs that claim large areas of the underground as their territories. While Gnolls only rarely come to the surface, their hunting parties are occasionally encountered by explorers in the ruins. Gnolls possess a low-level human intelligence. There's some pictures of them. So while they do look very similar to D&D Gnolls, these are slightly different with their background story. They're more like, I guess, the goblinoids in D&D. They maybe like a hobgoblin a little bit, but not so militaristic. More like a combination of like orc and hobgoblin, maybe. We also have Hydra, which I'm really pleased about. If you are looking for some Hydra minis, go ahead and check out the video over here that I'll put up a card for. I did a little review, and there's a really cool Hydra mini. This is something I'm really was looking forward to, the Minotaur. One of the most common and popular creatures to feature in the underground gladiatorial arenas of Felstad, Minotaurs combine the features of humans and bulls. Generally, they are extremely large with the heads and horns of bulls, although huge varieties exist. Some have hooves, others have feet, some are extremely hairy, others are mostly hairless. Regardless of their exact physical appearance, almost all Minotaurs are bad-tempered, aggressive, and prone to extreme violence. We have a sewer slime, which is like a green slime, hyena, two-headed troll. I mean, you really can't have Gnolls if you don't have hyenas, right? And we also have the violent fungus, which is just an aggressive fungus. The warmer and more humid chambers beneath Frostgrave are home to numerous species of aggressive fungus. Although these fungi come in different shapes, sizes, and colors, the most common types look like a cross between man and mushroom and stand between 4 and 5 feet high. Although they tend to be slow and weak, these fungi are genuinely poisonous and thus extremely dangerous to even the most skilled warriors. So these, I guess, are kind of like the mycenoids in D&D. Pits. I highly recommend this supplement. This is one of my all-time favorite supplements. If I had to choose 3 supplements to go with my Frostgrave game that I own, I would choose Thaw of the Lich Lord, Into the Breeding Pits, and the Folio. I choose the Folio strictly because of the captains, and it also has some really cool scenarios. Since you made it this far in the video, you must have some kind of interest in the game, some kind of nerd interest, and I'm going to go through my character sheet, and we're going to talk about how I leveled up this Beastcrafter. So I decided to dig out my Beastcrafter character that I had just to see what was going on with it, and it turns out this character made it to level 60. Let's see, the wizard went to level 3 Beastcrafter and chose wings. There's my sheet. Here are the spells that I chose. Animal mutation, animal manipulation. I got them down kind of low. And just to show the scenarios that we went through, here's the Dark Cauldron and the Amulet of the Ghoul King. which we got from Thaw of the Lich Lord, and there's the Beastcrafter book. Those are some of the magical items the wizard has. We also decided to stay at the inn. In the back of my sheets, I like to write, by the way, there's my beast. On the back of the sheets, I like to write the levels and what I do at each level. And for whatever reason, I don't have it starts at level 18. So I don't know what I did from levels 1 through 18. But apparently I didn't get the Beastcrafter potion. Like, I thought it might have been like level 20, level 25. I knew it was late. It was actually level 30 that I was able to cast that roll. I think I had trouble finding it, and then I had a lot of trouble casting it. Here's how I leveled things up. And like I said, I like to write these things on the back of my sheets because this way I can remember what I did for each level. I really wish I could remember what I did with levels 1 and up. Maybe those are on the old sheet or something. Here's my captain. And if we look at my captain, he did not really get that high. It says level 2, but he's actually level 5, about to hit level 6. He didn't really level up that high. And I worked really hard on getting him to be able to take some blasts. If you look, he's got Mail of Elemental Absorption 3, Armor of 14. I think this might be the wizard killer I created. Yeah, he went and killed the ghoul. I think we critted the Ghoul King. That's why he's the Ghoul King Slayer. That's why that's his name. So let's see, he has a shield, a +1 weapon, Mail of Elemental Absorption, Sprint +2, Furious Attack. Yeah, this I think was the one that was designed to take out the wizards, because I just got tired of those damn elementalists. And here we go, here's his leveling. And then this is, we got a kennel. It's a Beastcrafter, so we have lots of beasts. And that brings us to the very end. So I hope you have enjoyed this review and flip through, overview, preview, and whatnot of Frostgrave Into the Breeding Pits. I highly recommend this supplement. This is one of my all-time favorite supplements. Thank you very much. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and have a good one.